everyone, my name is Alexis and you are tuned in to Drinks O'Clock. We are at the award-winning Foursquare Distillery and I am so excited to be here. You may have seen on Instagram that we made a trip down to the Barbados Rum Experience and we had a wonderful time talking to lots of different people, but we missed someone very important. I don't understand how we did it. But we did. We missed someone very important. So we are here today with the wonderful Gayle Seale. Hey, Gayle.
Hi, nice to see you again, Alexis.
Nice to see you. Nice to see you. And I had to make sure we said that at the beginning because I remember I got home and I was like, oh, we didn't speak to Gayle. We spoke to so many other people, but I know that was a very busy day for you.
I was locked into exams in the afternoon, so that's where I disappeared to.
Yes, no worries. So we're going to talk today a little bit about Foursquare again, because there's no way we could be in this beautiful room and in this beautiful area without talking about the distillery.
I love talking about Foursquare.
Good. And we're going to talk about BRE itself. I know this year was 5 years and things like that, so we're going to have a bit of a chat about that. And then also about you, the woman who is Gayle. You know, I always think about being a woman in what we could see as a male-dominated industry being something important to talk about as well, wherever I go. So yes, we're going to talk about that. Is that all right?
That sounds good.
Good. So let's maybe start off then with a little bit about who is Gayle? Like, how do we get here?
How do we get here? A very interesting story. So I'm actually born in Scotland, as you can tell by my thick Scottish accent.
Of course.
True. But I moved to Canada when I was 6. So I grew up in Toronto, so I was a Toronto girl.
Okay.
For quite a long time. And my family had been coming to Barbados on holiday for many years. Barbados is one of those places you come to once, and then you're just like, let's just come back again. And we really like it here. So we came back. And then when I was 22, I was working for a company that ran squash tournaments all around the world. So like Dubai, Grand Central Station, Toulouse, all these different places. And we thought it might be kind of cool to do a squash tournament here on the beach in Barbados. So I came down on a business trip, met Richard in Carrot Beach Bar, locked our eyes.
We love a meet cute here. We love that. So you met Richard, and we'll talk about who Richard is, but for now we'll just say Richard. You met him at a beach bar.
It was kind of funny. So we met December 9th, which was his parents' wedding anniversary.
Okay.
I was supposed to be going home on the 15th. He convinced me to stay till the 22nd. He flew up to Canada and spent Christmas with me and my family, and I moved to Barbados for 6 months on December 30th to see how it goes. Richard is the most honest and straightforward person I'd ever met. And, in high school, you never meet boys that tell you what you want or it's complicated.
Yeah.
But Richard was very straightforward, very funny. And he just made me feel like comfortable and laugh all the time. So I decided, I'll come down to Barbados for 6 months. So I lived here for 6 months. We got married a year and a half later. And now we've been together 35 years, 2 kids.
And 10 dogs.
And 10 dogs.
I remember we were catching up before and you said 10 dogs. I said 10 dogs.
10 little Cavalier King Charles Spaniels, which are the little loves of our life because our kids are grown and flown. They're both living in London.
Okay.
So we don't see them as often. But we have the 10 little ones. So whenever we go home, they are so great. Just glad to see us, which is lovely.
Love that. Okay. And so the love of rum, how all of that came about for you. How did that all start?
Well, it's kind of funny because even when I was doing squash tournaments, my very first event was Myers Rum.
Okay.
And at that point, I was 19. In Canada, you can drink at a younger age. And, we drank a little bit of rum as we were getting the event ready, but it wasn't something I drank. I was, always the designated driver, but I knew a little bit about rum from this event. And so when I met Richard, he was studying his accounting exams. The company Gayle Seale, which is his family company, is going to be 100 next year. So they've been around for quite a long time. But we have distribution for all different things as well. And the rum was a good part of the company, but it wasn't the main part, or it was just like one of the parts. And when just after we got married, Richard decided that instead of being independent bottlers, he wanted to be a rum distiller and have the control and make his own rum. So the love of rum came around 1994 when we started building the distillery and putting it all together. So our kids grew up in the distillery. Our marriage kind of started not long after the distillery started, or started just before the distillery started building. So rum has always been a big part of our world. So for me, it was that first instance of seeing, what we were going to build, where we were going to build it, and then coming through the whole process of everything that was involved in it. And I slowly turned it into a career for me because, we had a family. So I was a stay-at-home mom. Then I was a teacher. I've been a photojournalist and a photographer. And because those were jobs I could do kind of anywhere when we were on the road. But once the kids finished school, I kind of became the on the road ambassador because I love the traveling, and I'd grown up with all this since the kids were little. It was easy for me, and spending all the time around Richard because he's one of the most beautiful speakers on rum. I don't think anybody knows more about rum history than he does. So I've kind of learned all these wonderful things from him over the years. So it made it really easy to take being a Montessori teacher, I was as well. So being a Montessori teacher and a photographer and a photojournalist, to turn this into being our global ambassador, because I'm basically educating, taking pictures, running the Instagram and Facebook pages, and just keeping all the things that I studied to do, but put it into a job that I absolutely love 24/7. So Foursquare is my day job, is my everything, where BRE is a project that my son and I and Thad and Jamal put together, and we have our own little company and we run BRE. And it's so different because it was born out of the idea that nobody was giving really good historical knowledge on Barbados and Barbados rum in one kind of event. Like you go to a rum show or you go to a trade show, you get like little lectures and you learn a little bit, and it might pique your interest, but nobody was getting like really deep information. And we sat with Professor Richard Drayton, my Richard, my son and myself at a dinner one day.
I love that. We sat with my Richard.
My Richard. I wish it was my Richard. And Christian and I, basically sat there listening to Richard Drayton and my Richard talk about history and rum and that. And it was like, wow, like we feel like so honored to be able to sit with this, because this is like a different level of rum geekery. This is not, rum show talk. And when we were going home that night, Christian and I were like, people would pay to listen to that, the rum geeks that we all know through the industry, to have the opportunity to listen to somebody from Barbados talk about it with the passion and love that the two of them had. So we kind of came up with this idea that, why don't we do an event that brings people to Barbados, because we want to bring people to Barbados. And it was the same time the BTMI had said, try and come up with events that are different to what we have, so that we're educational, weren't beaches, weren't about drinking, because Barbados Rum Experience is more about the education part of it. So we tried to fill all these boxes, and it was out of season. So being mid-November, early November, October, it's kind of a quiet season for us here in Barbados. So everything came together. The first one happened during COVID. And the hoops that we had to jump through to make that happen were crazy. But we got 27 people from around the world during COVID to come to Barbados. We're all sequestered at the Radisson, which has been the home of BRE since we started. Simone and her team are amazing. And we can't imagine the home of BRE being anywhere else. But they made everything easy for us then. And we had the most amazing week. We could still do the distilleries. We were all wearing masks. The lecturers had to wear masks and shields. Like, we were every protective thing we could do. And it was so much fun. And the group that came, it was so amazing. We were like, we're going to do it again. And so the next year wasn't in COVID, and we made it a little bigger. So each year we've grown it a little bit, but we try and keep it at a number that's manageable, so that everybody knows everybody feels that they're part of a group. There's no little cliques. Like, if you put 100 people in a room, it's hard. But if you put 50 people in a room, it's easy. It's very easy. And most of the guests stay at the same hotel. The speakers stay there. And like, it's really cool to see people at breakfast sitting around Richard Drayton asking him all these questions. And he's so generous with his time. We can't thank him enough. But the fact that our lecturers give so much of themselves to these people that have come to learn about Barbados in Barbados. It's just, for me, it's something that makes Barbados Rum Experience really special for all of us.
And then to think, I'm going to go a couple steps back quickly and then come back. So this, in terms of the connection between Foursquare and BRE, you are kind of the linchpin that brings those two things together. What else? So obviously Foursquare is very important, but do they see other parts of the island? Do they tour other areas of the island? Do they go to different distilleries? What kind of things do they do as part of the experience?
Well, for us, the name kind of says it all. Barbados Rum Experience. It's not something you can do online. So by bringing them here, you get, it's 3 days of lectures. The first day is all day lectures. The third day is just lectures in the morning, and the Friday is also lectures in the morning. But what we do is on the Tuesdays and Thursdays are distillery visits. So we visit the 3 distilleries of Barbados.
Lovely.
We visit Mount Gay, and it's not the regular tourist visit. It's a behind the scenes visit. Like Trudy Ann comes out and chats with us. Sam Sobers is there. Romain, who runs the tour program there, he makes it just so amazing. So they get this really in-depth vision of Mount Gay that you don't get just as a regular tour. And then
it's important to say there that Trudy Ann Branca, who we spoke to, also, first woman master blender at Mount Gay in Barbados, which, we're always championing women in these fields as well. She was a delight to hear from.
Listening to her talk was amazing. And for us, she didn't want to come the first 2 years because she was like, it's gonna be crazy, and I don't know about it. And we kept saying, no, these are your people. These are the people that want to know the real things you do. They're not just put a drink in my glass and that.
They want to know the science.
They come with books and they come with pencils and
pads, and
they will follow your every word.
Evaporation today. I was like, I didn't know about that, So
and that's the thing. Most people are like, really, it's not different, because you'll get, it evaporates more in Barbados, but the way she explained it, and all the things that are involved in it, you can't beat that. And I think it was the third year she sat on a panel, and I think she really realized, and then for the last 2 years we've had her do her own lecture, and she is so good at this. But sometimes it's hard when you're not sure of your audience, but when she comes to BRE, she knows that we are there to listen and to learn from her. So it's really special to actually see her not just as a lecturer, but to be in her world.
Yeah, and I think even that was from what I experienced from like talking to people. There's a real sense of village, community, people that have been there, it was their first time, and people that have also come and it was their third time. And I think it's important to say that this isn't just like a one-off experience that you come, you learn one set of things, and then you never come again. It changes up every year, right?
Yeah, so every year the lectures, some of the lectures are very similar because there's so much to talk about when you talk about sugar or sugar cane or distillation or fermentation and that. So each year they're very different, but like this year we instituted two off-site visits. So the first one was a 3-hour lecture at the cane breeding station with Dr. Andrew Stout and Jackie Brooms, and who's an agronomist, and to be able to take this group of people and see from a sugarcane seed to the sugarcane field before it goes to the cane crushing was such an interesting thing, because we learned so much. But when you're actually on site doing a practical visit, it brings everything in. Like you feel it a lot more, because you're looking at the seeds, you're looking at the canes in the lanterns, then you're looking at them in pots, and then you're looking at the different fields and the different levels and the sugarcane arrows, and it brings it all together. And we also do an agricultural day practical visit to Cocoa Hill. So we talk about how with sugarcane and things like that, some of the lands were destroyed and it was hard to replant and things like that. But then you see at Cocoa Hill how they're actually rebuilding the different levels to grow sugarcane in Cocoa Hill, and the coconuts and the ginger and all the different things. So being able to learn about it and then actually go out and see the practical of it
is really
is amazing.
Yeah,
so we do Foursquare. We do Mount Gay, and then we do St. Nicholas Abbey. Yes. We do them the same day, but we split the groups so it's manageable sizes. And when you go and do a behind the scenes look at St. Nicholas Abbey with Larry Warren and Anna, it's amazing because they have so much pride in what they've done to have taken St. Nicholas Abbey and then built a micro distillery inside of it. And they have the cane crushing plant. Like it was built on a sugar factory as well. So they have this beautiful cane crushing plant. And they're beautiful stills, which are so different to when you see Mount Gay's. They have so many beautiful pot stills. But when you go to St. Nicholas, there's one beautiful little pot still that's called Annabelle after Larry's wife, which I think is the sweetest thing.
Yeah.
There's no chance of Richard ever calling a still after me. I have asked. Richard does not do that.
But you never know. Because you
Yeah.
asked maybe for the 100th.
No,
When's
that
your
is
wedding anniversary?
February.
Maybe but no?
No, I know my husband, and I'm okay with it. I mean, I'd love to have a still named after me,
named after you. Okay.
but I have the coolest job in the world. So
Yeah.
kind of when you look at it, I'd rather have the coolest
have
job
this.
than have a still named after me.
Okay.
Our stills do not have names, and then so you get to see Mount Gay, big international company, but still doing it the authentic Barbadian way. They didn't come in and change anything; they just improved on it. You know, built their own sugar factory, built more warehouses, invested heavily in the island. You know, the same with Larry. He's done that. He's built a micro distillery, but this year we got to see he's actually building an aging warehouse, because before he had a very small one, and now he has a much bigger one. It has a really cool name. It's going to be called the Ark. It's made out of wood.
Okay, nice. Okay,
So it's
yeah.
kind of interesting. And then we also come to Foursquare, and I don't get to do the tours at Foursquare, which is really strange because I normally get to do the VIP tours at Foursquare, and I love doing them. But Richard takes them himself, and to be able to walk through Foursquare with Richard, who knows every button, every pump, what every single thing does, and to have him share his world is something really special. Not everybody gets a behind the scenes tour with Richard. So he does that for us. So everybody gets this time learning, like from the moment the molasses comes or from the sugarcane gets cut, because we have both different. We have a cane crushing plant, so we do juice fermentation, and we use molasses. So there's two different things. So to be able to kind of walk behind a working distillery is fantastic for our guests.
That if, as you said, if people were coming and just doing the tour or whatever, yes, of course, there's still something to get from that tour.
The tours are amazing,
of course. But this is actually like you kind of like when you said rum geekery.
This is
like the master boss of that kind of knowing about those things.
And it's very few places that have the owner is the distiller, is the blender, is the person doing all these things. Usually, they have a team, and Richard has the most amazing team. Like when I talk about the team at Foursquare, it's very small, and most of us have been with us from the very beginning, but everybody is so good at their job, and they bring it all together to make this amazing thing with a small group of people. Like people kind of go on the team's like 22, and I'm like, yeah, that's it. We work 24/7, so there's different shifts. We do. I always like to say we close for Christmas. So between Christmas and I think the 2nd of January, everybody gets off because we feel that everybody should go home for Christmas. So we shut down, then we come back the beginning of January, clean everything, and start back fresh again. But it's a way of making sure everybody gets a Christmas holiday with their family. They can go, because not every, some people have family in other places or they don't get that chance. So for us, that's something for me that's special about Foursquare. But by being able to take everybody through the 3 different distilleries and see the authenticity of each one of them and the differences in each one of them, because we all make Barbados rum, but we make it in different ways. Like we blend before we barrel. Mount Gay has, some of the oldest barrels and things out there. St. Nicholas Abbey is still quite new, and they're doing different things as well. So to be able to see this authenticity, this old world, real traditional style of Barbados rum firsthand is something you can't just read to somebody about or show them a little video. You need to
be in there to immerse yourself
in
it.
And that's what Barbados Rum Experience is. It is the experience of, getting up in Barbados and hearing the sound of the sea on a morning at the hotel, seeing the horses swim in the water, eating good Bajan food. And that's one of the other things. We try and make sure we encompass different things. Our opening party was at the Barbados Museum, so it gets everybody there to start out in history. The closing party is at the Cruising Club, and it's like a real lime, like just hanging out. It's good food, good drinks, casual. This year we didn't do distillery dinners because we did the opening parties differently. But in the past we have done distillery dinners where they focus on Barbadian chefs and things like that.
Okay, good.
So we try and make sure we show a little bit about the best of everything. The tour company that does our driving, Teddy Blades, He has been working with us from the very beginning, and he is a character in himself. And we love his team. They turn up. As we're driving through the countryside, they give us like a history as well. So it's a way of seeing so much of Barbados in the shortest period of time, but still getting a week of university education. And then our final day, this year for the first time, we got some funding and help from TVET, the Technical and Vocational Education Trust here in Barbados, which is really helpful. So it allowed us to have a lot more young bartenders come in and do the full course and write the exam. So we had an exam this year for the first time, and it was incredible to see people from around the world, because our age group and dynamic is really interesting. So some young bartenders in their early 20s. There are a lot of people in their 20s, 25s. Then you have, 30s to 45. You have quite a few over 50s. We had like 3 retired, a retired couple and another a retired man who'd been before. And it's really interesting. They come from different countries. So, yes, we're proudest that we get Barbadians, because this is an event run by Barbadians, Barbadian lectures. It's the real thing. But we get guests from Canada, the UK, USA, France, Italy. This year we had 2 from Israel. Last year we had 6 from Japan. We've had from Korea. We've had from Taiwan. We've had from all over Europe. We had one from South America. And for us, we've had some from Curacao, Puerto Rico. So it's so interesting to have this huge dynamic of people of age ranges, of backgrounds, of countries, all come here to experience Barbados. And one of the nicest things one of our French guests said to me as he was leaving, he says, Gayle, Barbados is in my heart now. He says, I feel that this experience has put it here, and now I can tell everybody about it from here, and I will make sure I send more people. And as an event organizer,
that's what you want to hear.
That's what we want to do. We want to plant Barbados into people's hearts. We want them to know about Barbados rum. We want them to know how special it is, how authentic it is. I mean, we are the home of rum.
Yeah. And I was thinking there in terms of even the link with the exam that you spoke about. So people that come over, that again, bartenders, mixologists, etc., from all over the world, actually having that qualification to be able to say, I did this experience and now I can really talk and know about Barbadian rum. Because when we spoke with Ian Burrell, again, amazing guy based in London. We love us some Ian.
He is my little brother.
We love us some Ian. And he reflected with us, which is true. People just say rum. Like, people don't necessarily say, Barbados rum or Jamaican rum or St. Lucian rum or whatever. And he was talking about it is actually important to know the difference. There is a difference. It isn't just rum. And I think that is something that, again, when we were talking to people and even, looking at this as an educational experience, it's important to know that you're learning about a specific area, not just, hey, come and taste some rum and have a nice time.
And that's true. Like, I would love to see a Jamaican rum experience, because
this is
exactly. when you look at some of the distilleries. So Auntie Joy is one of my favorite people in the entire world. First female master blender.
Okay.
At Appleton, but then you have Christelle Harris at Hamden in Jamaica. You have Zan from Worthy Park in Jamaica, and these distilleries are some of the oldest in the world. I think Hamden is the oldest. It is amazing to continuously run to go to Hamden and see how different Jamaican rum is made.
Right, exactly.
And that is it. So I do a lecture on the circuit called Truth versus Perception, the colors of rum. Because a lot of times people say, oh, I like white rum or I like gold rum.
But what? And give us something.
What does that mean?
More than that, yeah.
Because if you take a white Jamaican and a white Bajan rum and a white Puerto Rican rum, they are three completely different things.
Yeah.
And if you put them in a daiquiri, they're delicious.
Yeah.
But they're still completely different.
Exactly.
And it's, we don't talk so much about that at Barbados Rum Experience, because it's more the history and things like that. So there's not a lot of bartending things, but as terminology, we talk about that, because you need to have the right language when you're in our industry to be able to talk about, I like Jamaican rum in my daiquiri. I'd like a mojito with a Puerto Rican rum from Don Q. I do a rum Cosmo for my mother-in-law with Dorley's 3 white, because I'm not going to make her. we don't have any of that in our house.
No.
So for years I've been doing that, and only recently I told her it was.
And she said, when she found out,
And she was like, "That's probably why I like tourism so much." And I'm like, "Because I'm."
See?
But that's the thing. Rum is such an amazing spirit that you can substitute rum into almost any cocktail. But you can't do that with whiskey or tequila or gin.
Yeah.
They're specific, but you could take a gin cocktail and throw rum in it.
Yes.
You could take a whiskey cocktail and throw rum in
True.
it. You know, it's a really diverse and so wonderful a spirit. Like, I love being part of the Barbados rum industry, and I will support it. You know, if I'm in a bar somewhere and they don't have a Foursquare product, I'm drinking Mount Gay.
Yeah.
I'll look for St. Nicholas Abbey. I will always do that first, because I'm proud of our industry. But as I said, like, it would be cool to have a Jamaica rum experience, to have a Puerto Rican rum experience.
That understanding, and also just providing the education for those that are then going out into the world and being the bartenders, the mixologists or whatever. Or I think what was lovely as well, when, you know, I guess encouraging people that if they want to distill their own rum in some way, make their own rum, etc., having that as a foundation, an educational foundation, is really important. Because I think there is a lot of perception that, oh, well, I can just do this and I'll just make something that's good enough or whatever. But actually getting the real experience, education, and understanding from the greats and from those that are very knowledgeable will help people move forward.
And we talk a lot about the Barbados GI, which is geographical indication, which is where something is made. So if you buy champagne, you know it comes from the Champagne region of France. If you buy Angostura bitters, you know it comes from Angostura and Trinidad. But Barbados rum, kind of a no-brainer, should come from Barbados, you would think. But there's a lot of things out there that are trying to use the name Barbados rum, but not doing it the authentic way. Like, Barbados rum is made from molasses, sugarcane juice, sugarcane syrup, wild yeast, dry yeast, Barbados water.
Okay.
Those are the no-brainers. That is what goes into Barbados rum. You'll find products out there on the market that say the words Barbados rum, but are not Barbados rum, full of confected products and things like that. And it's something that, you know, we talk a lot about in BRE, is understanding why it's important to protect our indigenous products. Like, Jamaica rum is also having struggles. They had a giant place, and somebody's come along and said, "Oh, no, I want to make Jamaica rum somewhere else." And that's what's happening here in Barbados. There's a company that has said, "Oh, I don't want to make Barbados rum in Barbados. It's too expensive. I want to make it in France. It'll make it better."
This is the thing. Yeah, this is part of what I wanted to go to next as well. You know, when we talk about culture, history, tradition, there were some lovely conversations about, you know, religion, spirituality, the traditions of rum, libations. And that's what, when I saw that kind of on the screen, I thought, oh, I'm so excited that we're talking about this, because again, I think sometimes that can be missing from certain conversation. It's like, oh, well, we're in 2025 now. This is what we do and this is how we do it. And then almost the history and the culture and the tradition can be forgotten. Why do you think that is really important to still maintain in the conversations that we're having today?
Well, can you imagine, you know, Barbados rum is probably one of the top foreign exchange money earners for the island of Barbados. It's part of our history. It's part of our culture. We have rum shops. You know, we drink to celebrate. We drink when things are bad. You know, it is part of who we are. And Barbados rum has always been made here. But could you imagine if you woke up one day and somebody was just saying, "Oh, well, you know, we're just buying Barbados rum from somewhere else. Like, those words don't mean anything. You know, we're going to bring it in from another country." And, like, for me, the pride and the history of being the home of rum, Barbados rum should be made with Barbados water. It should be made in Barbados. Barbados technology. All these different things should help to improve Barbados rum for Barbados. We should not let that history fall behind. We should not let anybody sell those two words to another country, to use them and take the quality and the value of Barbados rum. Like, if you look at the two biggest competitions in the world for spirits are the International Spirits Challenge and the International Wine and Spirits Challenge out of London. They are the oldest competitions. They are done by taste only. They're blind tasting. So you can't kind of call up and say, "Here, if I give you $5,000, can I get a better price?" It's not like that at all. It is blind tasting. These judges are the tops in their field. Now, when you look at the final four for rum, almost every year, You'll find Foursquare, find Mount Gay, you'll find Hamden in Jamaica, Worthy Park in Jamaica. You'll find Nissan from France. You'll find some of these small, authentic distilleries from around the world. But almost always, there's at least 2 from Barbados.
Yeah.
And that tells you something when we only have 3 distilleries.
Yep.
We're doing something right. And every year, different rums go in, and every year, some of the judges change. So for us to always maintain that quality and respect, when people say Barbados rum, they think of something wonderful.
Yeah.
They never think of something cheap. They always think of something special. So protecting those 2 words, like for me, it's not about protecting any brands. It's protecting the 2 words Barbados rum. So people will invest in Barbados because, there are 2 companies that are looking to invest. But if we don't get the GI in place and they're not protected, and 5 years from now, they can make Barbados rum in another country. Why are they going to invest in Barbados? Yeah. Why would they bring jobs to Barbados? Why would they give us, building a distillery? And one of the things that came out of BRE is they interviewed Richard, and he was saying that our government keeps saying there's going to be this $800 billion industry. And Richard's saying you can't do that with 3 distilleries. You have to build it slow. The distilleries are saying, we're doing 80 building this year, roughly, or 80 million. And it's like, we got to build each year, but you can't do that with 3 distilleries. Yeah. You need to have more distilleries. Like when you look at how many rum distilleries are in the UK, I think there's about 14 now. Yeah. And people are investing. Yeah. But in Barbados, we're not having that. So the fact that Mount Gay Remy came in and kept everything authentic is so important and so special. And they're with us and saying, we need a GI to protect their investment. Yeah. We need a GI to protect St. Nicholas Abbey. Small little micro distillery, but they're doing great things. I think in the top 50 rum producers, all of us are there this year. And so for me, protecting Barbados rum that's another side hustle I have going on. You'll see people wearing the Save Barbados rum shirts and things like that, and you'll see them around the world, which is kind of cool. My best friend who is American, she's awesome. Her son was one of the boys who rescued 3 boys drowning off Sandy Lane a few years ago. Just saw what was happening, went out, saved them. They've stayed very close to the family, but they got invited to Alara Court to meet with the Prime Minister and kind of be awarded. And my best friend, everybody else turns up looking smart. She turns up in a Save Barbados rum shirt. Wow. That's when you know you have the best friends in the entire world.
It's going to the world.
And I remember she said that we kind of looked at her and says, "Where did you get that?" She's like,
it's an important message.
Gayle's my best friend.
Yeah, it's an important message, and we need to make sure that it is out
there. So you
will
see people all around the world wearing Save Barbados rum shirts and Save Barbados rum pins and hats and things like that, because we firmly believe that it's an important thing. And if you can protect champagne and cognac in France and all these different things, we need to protect Barbados rum for the future of Barbados.
Definitely. So from, I guess again, obviously we're at the end of BRE. We've obviously had all the amazing speakers and things like that. How do you see BRE growing for 2026?
Well, funny you should say that. What we're looking at is actually not doing BRE in 2026, changing the time for it. So we don't want to do it early next year. What we're looking at is doing it March 1st to 6th, 2027, which is in the middle of cane crushing season. So with these lectures, we talk about cutting the cane and what cane tastes like and what juice looks like and what juice fermentation smells like, because it's like nothing else you've ever smelled. It's intense and insane. And we go and look at these cane crushing plants, but they're not working. Like you can't put a cane crushing plant to work for one day.
Yeah.
So our idea is to make it even more interesting. So not only can we learn about the cane from seed to growth, but actually see the juices, try the sugar cane, do all these other things. So our aim is for 2027. So we'll take a year off, but we are looking at doing BRE on the road. So maybe next November around Rum Fest, doing a 2-day kind of taster teaser of Barbados Rum Experience with Richard Drayton, Richard Seale, hopefully Trudy Ann Branker, and hopefully Jackie Brooms with Ian at the same place. So that is our aim. So BRE 2026 is not going to be, but it will be BRE 2027, and it will be bigger and better and more interesting. And that's our aim, is to every year make it more interesting. And I've heard say one of the last things we do after the exams are done and the parties are over, on the Saturday, we take everybody on a catamaran cruise up the West Coast. So it's a way of, not only have they seen in the island, around the island, all the different things, they also get a chance to see it from the water and experience that Bajan hospitality of relaxing, having a nice drink, having some swim with the turtles, eating a real good Bajan buffet. And, you know, for us, that will still stay with the Barbados Rum Experience in 2027. Because I think it's not that it's everybody's favorite day, but it's the nicest day.
That time to
all of us together on one boat, no work, no anything else. And for me, as an event planner, seeing the friendships that have blossomed over a week, and knowing that these people are going to be friendly for life, and they're going to visit each other, and they're going to share things with each other. And, you know, a lot of them go home, and one of the guys is saying, he says, I've got 10 rums in my suitcase. I'm going to do a Barbados rum tasting as soon as I get home with, you know, Mount Gay, St. Nicholas Abbey, and Foursquare. She says, I want to share this with my friends. And you know, a lot of people don't know there are rum clubs around the world. We have a rum club here in Barbados. There are so many in the UK. But most places will have a rum club.
Yeah.
And it's not about just drinking rum, it's about education. So I do a lot of, you know, talks at rum clubs. Richard does a lot of talks at rum clubs. And for us, that's a special way of interacting with people and having that same kind of experience outside of Barbados. But usually our main aim is to bring more people back to Barbados to experience this wonderful island.
Bringing them home.
To Barbados. Because that's it. I mean, I grew up in, you know, as I said, born in Scotland, raised in Canada. But we started coming to Barbados on holiday when I was 16, and it was always, we didn't want to go anywhere else. We wanted to go back to our little home. We rented a place at Rockley Resort. And we went back every year because we just felt comfortable and we felt safe, and we loved to go, you know, touring around the island and learn all these different things. So for me now, you know, many, many years later, because I am not 45, but I have this beautiful love of sharing Barbados with people and letting them see what amazing island we have.
So just thinking as well there in terms of 2027, those that maybe haven't already come through the doors, what would you tell them in terms of why should they come?
Why should you come?
We've heard so much about it, so I don't even think we've sold it. But I'm just thinking, we're speaking directly to people. Why should they come?
For me, the main reason is to learn more about Barbados rum and about the history of Barbados rum, because it's so interesting. Like if you know, drink a little Barbados rum and have any interest at all, this is a way of getting like a week of Rum University. It's a way of experiencing all the things without having to work for it. It literally, we have it curated, we have the buses, we have the venues. You literally come and stay in the hotel and everything is starts and finishes there. You make friendships for life. Like I talk about the Foursquare Rum family all the time because, you know, we coined that years and years ago and started using it. And it was kind of like a cute little thing. And, you know, some people will say, you know, family is toxic, but for me, Foursquare Rum family is not. It is people wanting to share, people wanting to learn. So we now have the BRE Rum family, and it's the same thing. It encompasses this desire to make friendships, to learn new things, to try new things, and to have an experience that is so easy and so much fun that when you leave, there is a little part of it in your heart forever.
Yeah, love that. And I'm just thinking again in relation to family, even when you're talking there, it gives almost a maternal sense, like a holding of, it's like coming back home.
I'm the rum mum.
To the rum mum. Oh my God, I was going to say, I was going to go to the rum mum. I love that.
They call me that,
so
the rum mum.
Even thinking about being a woman in this field, you know, again, thinking about rum, you know, across the world, I think we could agree that it's a male-dominated industry. Yes, there are women doing amazing things, you know, as we spoke about Trudy there, we spoke about, you know, a woman master blender in Jamaica, etc. Exactly. So we're not saying we aren't present, but I'm just thinking, what is it like being a woman in this field, do you think? What have you experienced?
Right now, I find it really much more fun because, you know, 20 years ago, I mean, the distillery will be 30 next year. So about 20 years ago, there weren't so many women. I mean, you had Joey Spence, and you had a few female ambassadors and a few women involved, but it wasn't the same that it is now. Like now, when I look around and I see so many, you know, females rum spirits communicators and more women in the industry, it makes me feel better.
Yeah.
Like to know that women are definitely taking their place and, doing that educating, doing that sharing, doing all those different things. So for me, seeing more women in our industry is such a good thing. But it is difficult in some ways. Like for me, I'm the rum mum. I'm a little older. I don't have the same things. I feel very protected by our industry. I feel like I could go to pretty much any bar, restaurant, or hospitality event, and I'm going to know somebody or know somebody who knows somebody. And I feel that, if I need someone to help me get home safe, they'll put, make sure things like that. Like I've had incidents where I've had to, where I haven't, I shouldn't say had to, I haven't had to say anything, but somebody's noticed there's been an issue and made sure that they made it safe for me.
Yeah. Okay.
So I feel women in our industry, I feel we're a little more protected in some ways from, it's not that there's like terrible things out there, but from things that men don't have to worry about.
Yeah.
And
there are societal differences within our
Yes.
structures that means that there are things that women have to take into consideration in terms of safety that maybe women wouldn't have to. And I think that's
So like if I'm on, and if I'm representing Foursquare, and say I'm in London and I've done like a bar training in the afternoon, I've done a consumer training, I've visited some key accounts that's out, and usually on an evening I'll try and see 5 or 6 different bars that are supporting us, because it's a huge part of our industry, supporting the people that support us all the time, because we can't do it without them. And sometimes, a woman going into a bar on her own can feel intimidating.
Yeah, of course.
But I find that in the rum industry, the guys always make me feel safe.
Okay.
I can sit at a bar and, I'll be like, I'm Gayle from Foursquare. And they're like, oh, I know, so-and-so and so-and-so. So I always feel like I'm connected to someone. And so I feel a little safer. And now it's not as bad. But when I first started going out on my own, it's kind of daunting when you're in a much more male-dominated thing. But nowadays, I feel like women are, maybe it's 60-40 even. I feel there's a lot more. We have some great women bartenders and great distillers and great blenders. And so many people in the hospitality. And like even when I looked, it was 3 female bartenders and I had 2 males. And I was like, yes. BRE from Barbados. The girls are outnumbering the boys. And, when I do a lot of talks with Jamal and things like that, Richard and I they have the students come up, but we usually go and do a lecture for them. And I've noticed that it's usually 60% women that are coming into the hospitality field.
And do you think there's a sense of, because I always talk about like, you can't really be what you don't see, if that makes sense. So is it also a sense of having that woman presence, whether it be, you again, all the different people that we're talking about, seeing that presence, then, little girls could look up and be like, oh, I want to do that, or oh, I like that, or so I think seeing it is helpful as well.
Seeing a lot more women in our industry does give, I think it's like, oh, I don't have to do this. I could be, a top mixologist. I could travel the world. I could do competitions. Where 20 years ago it was very much male dominated. Now I think a lot of the competitions it's 50-50. Right? I see so many more women more empowered in our industry, and that is a fantastic thing to see. Like as the rum mum, I love that, because when I say I've been in the industry like 30 years plus, I'm like, it makes me really old. But it still
means you have wisdom, you have knowledge, and you are known in the industry, the rum mum.
Yeah, and I love being part of it, and I love being able to encourage new people into the industry. We do a lot of mentoring and things like that, and for me, it is so much fun. It is one of the best places to be, and as I told you before, like for me, this growing here and living here, and when I drive up that driveway every morning, it doesn't get old.
No.
It never does. And I call it, the coolest rum playground in the world, because this is our world. We have this beautiful distillery, we have Barbados Rum Experience to share all these things, but then we get to go out and take that out with us. So for me, I think we're I do think I have one of the coolest jobs in the world, outside of Ian Burrell, who has the coolest job in the world.
Ian,
Yes,
you
we
have,
love you.
you have the coolest job in the world. Thank you so much. Well, Gayle, it has been wonderful speaking to you.
Yeah, it's been fun. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. So we have been speaking to the Rum Mum. We are at the coolest rum playground in the world. Make sure you follow us at Spiritual Experiences. Also, make sure you follow at Barbados Rum Experience. March 2027 is when they'll be back. So follow us so that you know that you'll be there. Speak soon.